Hey everyone, and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got a very big lineup of news to brief you all on today. Today's date is August 7th, 2025, and it's Thursday. Welcome back to the channel, everyone, and I hope you're all having a wonderful day today. I can't believe tomorrow's going to be Friday already, then we're going right into our weekend. I feel like this week just went by so quick. Let's jump into the news. Lots of news to cover with this war update. We'll start out with a massive story out of Russia's Krasnodar region down in southwestern Russia, as overnight Ukrainian drones struck another oil refinery. And this is the third one actually this week that has been struck and hit. We had the Novorossiysk oil refinery up in the Samara region, and also the Ryazan oil refinery very close to Moscow that was hit earlier this week. Now we've got this one in the Krasnodar region. So let's start with this report here on your screen. Massive blaze at Russia's Afipsky oil refinery occurs after drone strike. The strike on the Afipsky oil refinery in Krasnodar has been confirmed. Its annual processing capacity is 6.25 million tons, which accounts for 2.1% of Russia's total oil refining volume. Okay, that came directly out of Ukraine's general staff today. They made a statement confirming this strike. This is video footage that somebody was capturing of this oil refinery burning, and I've got numerous videos to show you. And I believe we do have video footage showing a direct strike on this oil refinery. So we'll talk more about that here in just a minute. We also have reports of drones striking multiple strategic targets also in Russia overnight. And in the Krasnodar region as well, we have a military base that came under attack. A fire broke out over there due to Ukrainian drones. We also have two major railway stations in the Volgograd region that have been attacked overnight as well. And Ukraine's been doing a lot of that over the last week. And also Ukrainian naval drones were also attacking the port of Novorossiysk in the Krasnodar region. Also, explosions were heard in that area, and I do have video footage of that port coming under attack. The port of Novorossiysk is a major base for the Black Sea Fleet for Russia's Navy, and also has a lot of oil exports that come out of that area. So that's why Ukraine regularly attacks the port of Novorossiysk. And we're going to talk about that today as well. Lots of news to cover. Let's go ahead and jump into this. We're going to hop on over here to X with Max25. So we have got a lot to cover today. I'm going to try to move as quick as I can. He says, here we go, map from Drone Bomber. So we have a map trying to show the trajectory of the different drones going into Russia overnight. So some of the major regions we're going to talk about is mostly Krasnodar today, which is down here, southwestern Russia, closer to Crimea, and then also the Volgograd Oblast, where those two railway stations that came under attack are located at. So you can see these purple lines indicate naval drones that were going around Crimea, coming from Odessa and heading on over to the port of Novorossiysk, and I'll show you guys video footage of that today. Crimea was also under attack. I have numerous reports of different military infrastructure that has been attacked down there. Volgograd Oblast, again, going to be over here. You can see a lot of these drones were heading that direction. Rostov and Volgograd, where a lot of these railway stations are located. We had a few also going up over here through Kursk, maybe on up towards Moscow. Don't have any reports of any damages up here in this area. Mostly we're going to talk about down here in southwestern Russia today. So let's move on to another report from Bliskovka. Defense forces hit a number of Russian facilities, including an oil refinery in the Krasnodar territory, according to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. As a result of the strike at the Afip refinery, a fire broke out. The fire engulfed the gas and condensate processing unit. The plant provides more than 2% of the total oil refining of the Russian Federation. The operation was carried out by the Ministry of Defense's MDI and the Armed Forces of Ukraine's Unmanned System Forces. Other important targets were also hit. The results are being specified. So yeah, here's a statement coming out from Ukraine's General Staff today. Kind of the full statement of them, what they went after today, including this Afipsky oil refinery. So moving on to another update now from Max25, the moment of strike on Afipsky refinery. So we've got this first video that clearly shows what looks like the direct strike on this oil refinery. And then we've also got one showing it burning. So let's jump into this first one here. So according to this video footage, it looks like the strike came from probably the other side of the oil refinery because we don't see the drone actually flying towards its target here, but look at the size of that fireball after it got hit. This is probably somebody's video camera footage or security footage, probably in front of a business or something. It sounds like it could be like a diner or something like that. Here's another video coming up. All right, look at the size of that fire right in the very center of this oil refinery, and I'm sure that's going to cause some major damage. I think Russia's Ministry of Defense claimed that they put the fire out on this facility, so I'm not sure if it's still burning at this time. They could be just stating that. I mean, that's a pretty large fire. That looks like it must have taken quite a while to really put that out. So massive hit from Ukrainian drones. And again, 3 refineries just this week that have been struck by drones. Now for Special Kursan Cat. Fire on the territory of the Russian Afipsky oil refinery, Krasnodar region from a closer distance. Here's another video to show you guys as well, 13 seconds.
Может, лучше уйти? Ну вот, дорогая, где я работаю? О, беспилотник, завод прилетел. Мы под остановку нырнули с ребятами. Может, лучше уйти?
All right, so here's somebody standing very close, probably no more than like 100 yards away from this facility, and that massive flame right there in the center of this oil refinery, okay? This is a huge hit. I'm sure this refinery will probably be shut down considering major components were struck in this attack overnight. Again, this Afipsky oil refinery has been attacked before. There's been numerous times where it has shut down due to attacks, but it apparently was back online, and that's why Ukraine went after it again. And they really are going after a lot of oil refineries right now. Now from Intel Schizo. Ukraine strikes 2 more railway stations in Volgograd Oblast at the Surovikino, if I'm saying that right, railway station and Maxim Gorky railway station. Video is taken of Surovikino railway station on fire. I'll show you guys a full clip here in just a minute instead of just watching this, because this video will actually be tied into another one. But here's kind of like a map showing the different railway stations that Ukraine could be targeting or has targeted in the past. So the Volgograd region, there's several of them you can see over here. 2 of them were located in this area. That's the Surovikino Railway and also the Maxim Gorky Railway Station. These are the 2 that came under attack. Unfortunately, I don't have any video footage. I wasn't able to find any of the Maxim Gorky Station coming under attack, but we do have video footage of Surovikino Railway that has been attacked overnight. Here's that video footage right here. Now it says from Visioner in the Volgograd region in the city of Surovikino. Long-range kamikaze drones of the armed forces of Ukraine successfully bombed the railway lines and energy facilities of the Russian occupiers. Here's video footage coming out from that area, the Surovikino railway station in the Volgograd Oblast. 45 seconds.
Сейчас был смачный взрыв, просто.
Так вот. 2 здания.
Он открыл, походу, сигнал, какой-то зеленый открыл. И проход.
Сейчас
не надо. Он, видишь, вот тянет. Валить не надо.
Сейчас будет сбой этих.
Разлетелось.
Могут врезаться.
А?
Сбой будет сейчас, могут врезаться где-нибудь.
Сбой сейчас не будет.
So we can see lots of different fires that broke out. There's looks like a massive explosion right here, actually. Most likely at this train station. We've got lots of different buildings that were being attacked as well and caught on fire. And at some point towards the end of this video, see if we can move forward. Right here, it kind of looks like we have one of these traffic control lights for these railways. And we've got a massive fire here on this building. We usually see Ukraine go after a lot of the station buildings that are located at these railways. We've been seeing this time and time again a lot over the last week. So massive hit from Ukrainian drones. We'll wait for more information. I'm not sure if these railways were like shut down or anything like that. But aside from that, with these videos, the Surovikino railway station definitely took some major hits and lots of fires broke out. All right, now let's move on to War Translated. It says overnight, UAVs paid a visit to a fuel and lubricants depot at the 76th Separate Repair and Recovery Battalion's military base in the settlement of Slavyansk on Kuban. So this is actually located down in the Krasnodar region. As I mentioned earlier, we did have a military base being attacked. I want to show you guys this video footage here, and it does show a fire here at this base. And I do apologize, there is a little bit of profanity here, but I want to show you guys a little bit of this video, probably about 15 seconds of it or so. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Нихуя себе. В районе воинской части, ёпта мать. Что-то пыхтеть начало, ебать. О, горит нахуй.
Okay, we'll go ahead and stop it there. And as we can see, a fire did break out. You can actually see the flame right there. So I do have some information today. I think like an ammunition depot or something was hit over here on this base. But yeah, nonetheless, a major fire that broke out due to Ukrainian drone attack. Again, down in the Krasnodar region. This is the 76th Separate Repair and Recovery Battalion's military base in the settlement of Slavyansk on Kuban. So here's another update from Max 25 as a result of the UAV attack. A fuel and ammunition depot was hit on the territory of the military unit of the 76th Separate Repair and Restoration Battalion in the village of Slavyansk on Kubani, according to Cyber Barashno. And this is like an open source intelligence group. They post a lot of things on X. So these were kind of like geolocation pictures kind of showing where this fire was located at. And this is like a shop, and they were showing these lines kind of showing where somebody recorded this video. This is actual video footage, and then this is like a snapshot of probably on Google. And it shows kind of where it was most likely being recorded from. I think it was down here when there was video footage that was also coming out. Somebody was recording from this high-rise residential building. They were looking this direction over here towards where the base was at. And then we can see right here, it's a pretty massive facility. And it was right in this area, allegedly, where this fire was burning at. This is kind of that high-rise building somebody was recording at from another video showing this different angle over here of this fire. This is where it was happening at. So kind of just some different maps here coming out to indicate where this fire was at in some of the videos that were released showing this major fire at this base. But otherwise, yeah, according to this information, we had a fuel and ammunition depot that was hit on the territory of this military base. So pretty crazy coming out from Ukraine today. Now for Max 25, there were also reports of maritime drone attack on the port of Novorossiysk at night. The consequences are being clarified. Here's a 20-second video. You're going to hear lots of explosions, most likely Russian military units trying to destroy these naval drones that were attacking this port down here. Right, towards the end, we heard a massive explosion that set off a lot of car alarms that could have been maybe one of these Sea Baby drones coming from Ukraine that were destroyed. And it's been multiple times this week, at least 2 or 3 times we've had reports of naval drones being used to attack Crimea. But many times over here, like the port of Novorossiysk has come under attack by these drones. So we're still waiting for more confirmation on the details there, but otherwise, definitely some explosions at this port overnight. Now let's move on to Vicegrad 24. Ukraine attacks Crimea. Russian media started to spread information about the use of Storm Shadow missiles, but there is no official confirmation yet. Local authorities reported the work of air defense systems. So here's a video also coming out. It looks like there was an explosion over here, and could have been due to Storm Shadow missiles being fired on Crimea early this morning as well. Take a look at this.
Я ебаться не хотел. Мы куда приедем, везде обстрел, блядь.
Смотри.
Да. А что там за горой? Там, наверное, какая-то база, да? Там везде в позицию накрыли.
All right, so it looks like we can see numerous fires. There's one right here, and then a little bit to the right. When the camera started to pan, you can see a little bit more smoke coming from most likely another strike right there. You can kind of catch it there on the corner of the screen. So I'm not sure exactly what was being attacked down here, but it could have been Storm Shadow missiles that were being fired from Ukraine onto Crimea. But we do have a lot of reports today of many things being hit inside of Crimea. Here's the reports right here from Anton Yeroshenko. Combat drones from Ukraine's Defense Intelligence Primary Unit successfully struck several Russian targets in Russian-occupied Crimea, such as a Nebo SVU radar, a Podlet 1K radar, 96L6E radar of the S-400 system and a landing craft 02510BK-16. The Russian army began hiding their radars, some of which were struck in domes. In another dome, hit by Ukrainian forces, the Russians had set up an air defense base for the 3rd Radio Technical Regiment. So you can see lots of different targets were allegedly being hit in Crimea over the last 24 hours or so. And Ukraine's defense ministry actually released this video. We're not going to watch it because it's very long, almost a minute and a half. But what I will do is I will post it down in the description for you guys of this video if you want to check out this actual video footage here of these drones that were attacking Crimea overnight. These were the different targets in this video that were actually hit. And there's actually one part in the very beginning of the video that shows a drone that made it all the way to Crimea and evaded 5 different times that air defense systems were trying to shoot it down. So pretty crazy. I will share that with you guys down in the description for you, and I'll put a link if you guys want to check that out. Okay, I don't want to make this video too long. I have a lot of other important information to share with you guys too. So from Vicegrad24, breaking: Putin wants to meet with Trump in the UAE. According to him, this is a suitable place for a meeting between the two leaders. Putin also stated he is not against negotiations with Zelensky, but certain conditions must be created for this to happen. Yeah, this is video footage today of Vladimir Putin. He was meeting with the president of the UAE. So could we see a meeting between Trump, maybe even Zelensky and Putin in the UAE very soon? I'm thinking that could be a very big possibility. But here's Putin speaking to reporters today.
Понимаете, ради бога, извините, что прерываю такую интересную экскурсию, но в свете последних новостей о вашей будущей встрече с Трампом, что вы уточните, а кто был инициатором этого саммита?
Заинтересованность была проявлена с обеих сторон. Кто там какое слово сказал первым, это уже не имеет ничего.
А можете уточнить, вы говорите, что ваш помощник сказал, что она будет на следующей неделе, скорее всего. А где? Хотя бы намекнуть место.
У нас много друзей, которые готовы нам помочь организовать мероприятия подобного рода. Вот, один из друзей, президент Объединенных Арабских Эмиратов. Я думаю, что мы решим, но это было бы одним из подходящих, вполне подходящих мест.
А что с Зеленским? С ним встреча будет?
Я уже говорил неоднократно, что я ничего в целом не имею против, это возможно, но для этого должны быть созданы определенные условия. А вот для создания таких условий, к сожалению, пока далеко. Спасибо.
Okay, so the fact that he's meeting with the UAE president today makes me think that maybe that's where the next meeting is going to take place between Trump, Putin, and possibly Zelensky. But on top of that, we have Putin here stating that he is open, apparently, to meeting with Volodymyr Zelensky, but he's waiting for certain conditions to be met. I'm not sure exactly what those are. If you guys happen to have any information on that, let me know. But that's what he stated here today. Now, from next, a location already agreed. Kremlin begins preparations for Putin-Trump meeting. Moscow has officially confirmed the talks between Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump could take place in the coming days. According to the presidential aide Yuri Ushakov, the location has already been agreed upon, but will be announced later. Ushakov noted that the initiative allegedly came from the American side and that the Kremlin, together with Trump's representatives, has begun detailed preparations for the meeting. So according to Nexa today, they're reporting that there is a location already that has been agreed upon. Now, that's obviously not super significant. Doesn't really matter where they meet, really, right? As long as they do so is kind of how I see it. But that's a good step forward. That means that there is an agreement to meet, okay? At least Putin and Trump. Now, let's see if Zelensky's going to be making it there as well. I do have some information on that today. So let's move on to another one from Null Reports. A new KIIS poll shows 76% of Ukrainians firmly reject Russia's peace plan, while 17% are willing to support it. The plan calls for Ukraine to withdraw from the 4 regions, reject NATO membership, and lift sanctions on Russia. Meanwhile, Bloomberg reports Trump told Zelensky and European leaders that Putin might start peace talks if territorial exchanges are discussed. So here's a new poll that came out today in Ukraine. Apparently, 76% of Ukrainians firmly reject Russia's peace plan that they've given to Ukraine numerous times. I mean, we know that Ukraine is never going to agree to any of that. They're not going to give up the territories they're fighting for. I mean, we'll have to see how things play out here over the next week or so. Ukraine might have to make some sort of concessions, and I'm sure Russia needs to do the same. But for the most part, we're not really seeing Russia agreeing to really any kind of concessions. They're mainly just giving Ukraine demands, is what we have seen from numerous meetings between Ukrainian and Russian delegations, especially in Istanbul, Turkey. So we'll see how that plays out. But yeah, this was just a new poll coming out today from Ukraine. Now, for military news UA, territorial issues will be key elements in resolving the war in Ukraine, says U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. He also states a lot needs to happen before Trump meets with Putin. The meeting depends on how much progress the parties can make. Trump could speak with Putin in the next few days. No call is currently scheduled. Rubio added that the U.S. has a better understanding of the conditions under which Russia will end the war. This was a statement from the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio yesterday. So what I'm getting from this is it seems like Trump only wants to meet with Putin if he's serious about ending the war. That it seems like if they are going to have this meeting, they want the war to be agreed upon to be ended, is kind of how I am interpreting this here based on this information. So, apparently Trump was telling Putin that as well today. I think Bloomberg News was reporting that. I do have some information on that Trump only wants to meet with Putin if we're actually going to see an end to this war. So that's a good indication. If we see this meeting coming, that means that most likely we could see a possible end to the war, but really ultimately it comes down to Ukraine as well, because Trump and Putin can agree on things, but if Ukraine doesn't agree on it, then we don't have an end to the war. So we still got to wait for the Ukrainian side as well. Now from next, Zelensky says it's time to end the war. The president of Ukraine stated that 3 negotiation formats are currently being discussed, 2 bilateral and 1 trilateral. According to him, Ukraine is not afraid of direct dialogue and expects the same level of determination from Russia. So this is what Zelensky said today, that apparently there's different formats of negotiation that are currently being discussed and worked out. So 2 bilateral, most likely meaning Trump and Putin, and then Trump and Zelensky. And then the trilateral one would be between all 3 of them, that they would get together. So that's what we're expecting to see happening here soon. Hopefully all 3 of these can meet, and if we do see an end to the war, that would be great. And hopefully it's an agreement that everybody can agree on, and we see a safe end to this war to stop the fighting. We'll see how it goes. Now from next, breaking, Ukraine is ready for a real ceasefire. There is no clear public response from Russia at this moment. Zelensky spoke with Macron and shared details of their conversation. The dialogue took place against a backdrop of news about a possible meeting between Trump and Putin, who continues to avoid a direct meeting with the Ukrainian president, and no one is even surprised by this. It says, quote, the near future will show what the consequences will be if Russia continues to drag out the war and sabotage constructive efforts, said the president of Ukraine. So these were just some other statements also from Zelensky as he was making this today, but he's saying that Ukraine is ready for a real ceasefire. There's no public response from Russia at this moment. So once again, Zelensky reiterating the same claim that Ukraine is open to a ceasefire. They're ready to end this war. Really all comes down to Russia, as Russia has not really stated anything in regards to agreeing to a complete unconditional ceasefire with Ukraine. Now look at this from next to Ushakov, who is Yuri Ushakov, that is Vladimir Putin's aide. It says the U.S. proposed an acceptable plan to the Kremlin. According to Putin's aide, Yuri Ushakov, Washington presented a proposal that Moscow considers acceptable. The talks were initiated by Trump's special envoy, Steve Witkoff. Polish outlet Onet, I think is how we say that, claims to have obtained the details of the proposal. So here's the details according to this Polish outlet. It says a ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia, not a peace treaty, de facto recognition of occupied territories by freezing the issue for 49 to 99 years, lifting most sanctions imposed on Russia, eventual return to importing Russian gas and oil, no guarantees regarding NATO's non-expansion, and the U.S. will not stop military support for Ukraine. So I thought that's interesting. This was the Yuri Ushakov right here speaking to reporters, allegedly claiming that there is some sort of acceptable plan that has been given to the Kremlin already by Steve Witkoff. So let me know what you guys think on some of these. I mean, like U.S. military support for Ukraine continuing. I don't see Russia agreeing to that. Why would they agree to that? They've said numerous times that they will not be okay with that. And then in terms of NATO expansion, that means that, could Ukraine join NATO down the road? That's another big thing. And a lot of people say that that could have been a large reason also why Russia started this war with Ukraine, was to prevent them from joining NATO, right? So, just lots of big things here. Definitely some things I could maybe see Russia agreeing to end this war, but at the same time, some of these things not. So let me know how you feel about some of these statements here. But again, this is just a Polish outlet claiming to have obtained the details. This is not completely confirmed just yet. It's mainly just from that one outlet. Now, from Max 25, Trump suggested that Putin would be open to peace talks in exchange for discussing a territorial swap. The U.S. president welcomed the possibility of a ceasefire, according to Bloomberg today. Okay, so allegedly, with this information from Bloomberg, they're reporting that Trump suggested Putin would be open to peace talks if they exchange discussing a territorial swap. So I would think that'd mean like, Russia gaining some of these territories they've been fighting for. And again, I don't see an end to that. We've already been down this road before, and Ukraine will never pull out of these regions that they're currently fighting for. Same with Russia. Russia doesn't want to pull out. Ukraine doesn't want to pull out. So that's why we've also seen pretty much no end to this war. So I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but that's what Bloomberg was reporting today. Now for Max 25, Trump will meet with Putin only if Putin also meets with Zelensky, a White House official told the New York Post. Trump is also expected to give a speech today. Yeah, numerous sources today on X indicating that Trump's going to be holding a meeting with like press reporters today, so we'll see how that goes. I do have some video footage here in just a moment of Trump yesterday speaking to reporters. I'll show you guys a few statements from him, but also Trump stating that he's only going to meet with Putin if Putin also meets with Zelensky. That's according to a White House official. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, Putin's saying that he's open to meeting with Zelensky, so he's stating that now, but when that time actually comes, will he actually meet with him? Because there was a time just a few months back where Zelensky actually went to Istanbul and called on Putin to meet him there. Putin didn't even go, and he actually sent some very low-level delegation to represent him. So it's kind of like a slap in the face to Zelensky. So we'll see how that goes if he happens to meet with Zelensky or not. Now for Vice Grad 24, Trump says we had very good talks with President Putin today. I've got a 30-second video of Trump at the White House yesterday speaking to reporters. Just want to show you this real quick.
Mr. President, have Putin and Zelensky agreed to a summit yet? And where and when would that be?
Well, there's a very good prospect that they will. And we haven't determined where, but we had some very good talks with President Putin today. And there's a very good chance that we could be ending the round, ending the end of that road. That road was long and continues to be long, but there's a good chance that there will be a meeting very.
Okay, so directly from Trump today, or yesterday, excuse me, stating that there's a possibility the war could come to an end, and we could see a meeting with Zelensky and Putin, possibly even with Trump here in the near future. So that was him confirming that yesterday. Here's one more from Vice Grad 24. It says, reporter, you said you'd know if Putin was tapping you along. What gives you confidence that he isn't doing that this time around? Trump says, I can't answer the question yet. I'll tell you in a matter of weeks, maybe less. Yeah, just a quick clip, 13 seconds.
You said you would know if Putin was tapping you along. What gives you any confidence that he is or isn't doing that this time around?
Can't answer the question yet. I'll tell you in a matter of weeks, maybe less.
Okay, so we've heard this from Trump multiple times already. There's been at least 2 or 3 other occasions where a reporter has asked him, we're even talking months ago, right? Where a reporter would ask him, when are you going to know that Putin's tapping you along? When are you going to start slamming sanctions onto Russia or whatnot? And, Russia's clearly playing games or whatever, right? And this was Trump's response again, which he has stated numerous times as 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, right? Is what he said in the past. And then today he says, I'll let you know in a matter of weeks. If not sooner. So take it with a grain of salt. I guess we'll find out. Again, I'm not sure if Trump is going to give Putin more time. It seems like he's been doing that, for many different weeks now, but that was just a statement from him yesterday. Now I've got a new report here from Nexta. Russia pushes toward Kherson again. Russia has renewed its offensive to the Kherson front, CNN reports. The goal is to split the city in two by destroying the bridge that connects the mainland to the island district of Korabel. Over the weekend, a series of strikes damaged the bridge, prompting the evacuation of 1,800 civilians. According to locals, the evacuation columns were not targeted by drones, a rare exception amid months of attacks on civilian infrastructure. CNN suggests that Moscow may be preparing for a renewed attempt to retake Kherson. Simultaneous strikes on infrastructure and key transport routes point to a possible escalation of pressure on the southern front. Here's a report from CNN today. Russian drones hunt civilians as Putin zeroes in on Ukraine's Kherson region. So we've been reporting this all week, actually. I've been talking to you guys about this. Here's Here's video footage coming out from Kherson. This was happening 2 times over the weekend. I think it was like Sunday and then going into Monday of this week. The Russians were actually trying to bomb a bridge down here. There's one side of the bridge, which is like the Korbel region. It could be here or here. I'm not sure based on the video footage. And then the other part is the actual like larger portion of the city of Kherson. And the Russians are trying to bomb this bridge and destroy it because I think they're going to try to make some sort of land operation or amphibious landing operation onto the Korbel Peninsula. And I want to show you guys that on a map actually so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But that was video footage of like the second time it was getting bombed. And I'm not sure if it's completely destroyed, but there's like 2 bridges over there. So I pulled open this map here real quick to kind of show you guys. So we'll zoom into the southern portion of Ukraine. Here's Crimea right here. We'll go down to the city of Kherson. And when we zoom in here, we have the Korbel district over here. It's kind of like a little peninsula that's separated from the mainland of Ukraine over here. And apparently the Russians have been trying to destroy one of these bridges. I think it's this one right here. This is the one that we see in the video that was getting bombed. Okay, there's this bridge right here and then also a smaller one in this area. And allegedly what CNN is kind of reporting is that the Russians are trying to knock out this bridge so that way Ukrainian troops can't come over here into the Korbel district. And then once they do that, allegedly they're going to level this entire area. A lot of people are being evacuated and being moved out of here to try to get over to the main area of Kherson. And then the Russians might try an amphibious landing here along this area and to make some way onto this piece of Kherson. Okay, so not good news. And the Russians are allegedly trying to make another advancement or attempt to retake Kherson here. Okay, and Ukraine took it from the Russians. I think that was back in 2022, back towards the start of the war. Ukraine recaptured it, and now the Russians are trying to take it over again. So this is allegedly what they're going for, is the Korbel district down here. Okay, so just wanted to show you that on a map real quick. That way you kind of understand the situation that's been going on for the last week down here in Kherson, down in the southern side of Ukraine. Okay. So now for Bliskovka, Air Defense Forces of Ukraine shot down or suppressed Russian 89 out of 112 UAVs. There were 23 UAVs hit in 11 locations, and the downed UAVs or wreckage fell at 3 locations. 112 drones going into Ukraine overnight. Didn't get too many reports of damages. There was some strikes on some towns, but there was just so much other big information that I wanted to share with you guys. I might squeeze that into another video or something later, but for the most part, nothing too crazy in terms of damage that was reported inside of Ukraine overnight. But otherwise, looks like 89 out of these 112 were taken down, which is very good numbers coming from Ukraine's defense forces. Now from Kyiv Independent, these are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of August 7th, according to the armed forces of Ukraine. In our final update of the day, Russia's losses as of August 7th, 1,040 troops, 4 AFVs, 130 vehicles and fuel tanks, 4 tanks, 47 artillery systems, 163 UAVs, and 1 MLRS. Okay, we've been seeing pretty much at least 1 MLRS destroyed every day, if not more. I think we had 3 yesterday. 47 artillery systems up a little bit. We usually see 20 to 30 on average. And then tank numbers and AFVs up a little bit as well. We've been seeing almost 1 or 0 for these lately. So 4 in each category there. 130 vehicles and fuel tanks, quite a bit more than what we typically see, usually 75 to 100. And then we got about 1,040 troops, so about average troop losses there. So overall, across the board, somewhat similar numbers to what we have been seeing, but some increases in certain areas. So I want to thank you guys very much for being here for today's update on August 7, 2025 on Thursday, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful day today. Let me know what you think about all these details down below in the comment section, but that's going to be it for today's update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell, that way YouTube can notify you. And with that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.